Good afternoon. Welcome back to MedTech's Biomed Empire State Focus, as we've been spending some time over the last few weeks focusing on innovation regions across upstate New York. And as you know, today we're focusing our attention on Westchester County and the Hudson Valley. As part of this discussion, we're spending some time with innovators who are building life science businesses in the regions. And I'm pleased to be joined now by David Eigen, the co-founder of Leviant, co-founder and CEO of Leviant. David, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm wondering if you could start off in the way that we tend to on these conversations and talk a little bit about the problem that you identified.
The original genesis of this company was under previous management, and there was this widely held and quite accurate belief that in the healthcare system, particularly in hospitals and particularly in operating rooms and patient rooms, that they were not nearly as clean as people thought. And to clean the rooms, it takes quite a bit of time, and there are toxic chemicals used that creates problems both for workers, in particular, who are most exposed, as well as risks for patients who are often immunocompromised. And when we got interested, we started looking at this company a couple of years ago under previous management. And what we did was we actually acquired the assets at the end of last year. For various reasons, there were very powerful patents and technology and how to approach the problem. And this company focuses on using ultraviolet light delivered differently than any competition to eliminate any infection, whether it's MRSA, C. diff, Candida auris, which has become a very big problem. And these hospital-acquired infections have become a very big deal. Now, as we all know, these infections can also occur outside of healthcare. So the problem exists in locker rooms, it exists in nature and agriculture, it exists obviously in hospitals, in commercial real estate areas, anywhere where there are people. So the problem is, how do you, with the least amount of human involvement and the least environmental damage, create solutions that can get rid of these problems? Now, I'm looking outside my window and the sun is out, and ultraviolet light, which is what we create artificially indoors with our units, you put anything out in the sun for long enough and it will kill it. And it's that very concept that we have harnessed, and we're growing the business now.
At the risk of asking you to give away your secret sauce, can you tell me a little bit more about your solution, or what sets it apart from other sanitizing products in the market?
Yeah, so particularly in healthcare spaces, which is still our primary focus, we don't suggest that professionals stop using the historical ways, but we do see other less invasive ways that, coupled with ours, creates as close to a infection-free, I won't say sterile, because any medical professionals listening don't like hearing that word used, environment. And what this company has are patents and knowledge about how to deliver it using multiple sources of light from multiple directions that enables two things. One, the very premise, which is one of the very common laws of physics, which is called the inverse square law, is that the further you are from a source of power, the more it dissipates, and it dissipates exponentially. And with our units, we actually deliver the light by they are one that covers a room is expandable, and the one that we use for equipment, which is the only device on the market that has UL approval to be in the room while the machine is working, surrounds the actual equipment, and that can disinfect in 90 seconds. the device that we have for the room can disinfect a room in 2 minutes, whereas our competition, our fastest competition that requires multiple devices is between 8 and 10 minutes, and the bulk of the competition is around 20 to 25 minutes. What that also does is it takes us, first of all, out of the hospital into hotels and other areas where you really can't afford to leave someone cleaning for an extra 20 minutes while the device works. And in particular for hospitals, what it enables is the use of UV light to keep cleaning during the day. Otherwise, almost all of our competition is used in what's called the terminal clean, only at the end of the day. So if a patient room is turned over, that's fine. But if it's an operating room, an emergency room, any other, they will not use it, except, to my knowledge, I have yet to see a hospital with a competitive product that uses it during the day.
And certainly, I think some of our audience members are, acutely aware of the, in addition to the health problems, the financial burden that grows out of hospital-acquired infections and other events that are considered, never events for CMS and other payers. And I'm wondering if this product is a way to help mitigate some of those costs and liabilities on the provider end.
It does. And hospitals that use UV, and for that matter, not just ours, but that are methodical in their use, have, to my knowledge, all seen significant declines in hospital-acquired infections. Again, someone can acquire a device, but it requires the methodical use. Like anything, it can sit in a corner. Hospitals are renowned for having equipment that sits idle collecting dust, even in a hallway right outside a patient room. But most of the hospitals that I know of and that we're involved in, we can see the use, and they are using the devices, and they are reporting lower levels. Hospitals that are penalized, the penalties can be in the many millions of dollars for a single hospital in a single year. And that, by the way, that data is all published by the government.
And tell me what you can about the company. Where are you at now? What's your trajectory over the near term?
Yeah, well, physically, we are located next to another company that I believe you know called Claripath, and we're in a Robert Martin-owned office park in Hawthorne, New York, in Westchester. We have a great group of investors. So as a company itself, we have a wonderful board with some, I would say, not so retired investors and former company founders, public company founders. And we have a great strategic advisory board led by Dr. Tom Walsh, who was at Cornell for many years, who is a bone marrow transplant specialist. Dr. Robert Gaines, who's a former head of infection control at the CDC and a senior executive, most of his career between the CDC and the VA. And Donna Armelino, who remains the head of infection control for the Northwell system. And so we have a great group, we have a great staff, a great team. So,
and where are you doing your manufacturing?
Actually, the manufacturing now is in Long Island and upstate New York, and we are most likely very close to making a decision and moving it to the Westchester area, to a contract manufacturer here.
And I'm wondering if we can turn the focus a little bit to you, David. Tell us a bit about your journey, your path as an entrepreneur. What brings you into the life sciences? What brings you to where you are today?
Well, at a very personal level, when I was in college, I wound up with a GI problem that I was sure was an infection, but I was told it couldn't possibly be because there was no data. And I said at the time to the doctor, I said, I have a family we're friendly with. They have 3 boys with cystic fibrosis, and they knew about all of them in the first months of their life that there was something wrong. So why me now? And that started a lifelong curiosity. And I'm going back to the late 80s for that first conversation. I invested in, I went to business school, I went to law school. I worked in technology. I had a startup in healthcare that was before its time. I saw the dot-com bubble brewing, and I actually sold the company and started doing my other passion, which is markets. So I always kept investing in private companies, but my main day job, for that matter, for the better part of 15 to 20 years, was running public equity funds. And I worked or invested in industrials and a lot of healthcare, but not drugs. So I do not invest in pharmaceuticals. And I have a venture capital firm called P5 Health Ventures. We've had several companies overlap with Northwell, including Claripath, and now this company was Purple Sun, now renamed Leviant. And I remain focused on, when I do invest, which has become much more quiet as I've come into the operating role of this company, I invest in digital health and diagnostics and the AI around it that can turn things into actionable intelligence.
And certainly, as we've had these conversations with innovators, AI, digital health, without doubt, really kind of the fastest growing segment of innovation in the healthcare marketplace. I've got you here on camera. Let me get a little bit of your wisdom. What's your vision for digital health, for AI, and the like, as we look over the near term?
I think it keeps coming. I think behavior change, workflow doesn't change as quickly as people think. I believe a lot of the companies that are trying to replace healthcare professionals are far ahead of their time. There may be a time when that happens as these devices get better, as continuous glucose monitors, by example, get less and less invasive. And there's a lot that you can infer, but I do believe, I still see, as an investor, I still see a lot of technology companies started by technologists who think that technology solves all human problems. And I think it will take time. Having said that, I've invested in some wonderful companies that are doing very well, but their scale is not, it's not Northwell scale. And I think the best companies are the ones that work with the existing healthcare system, that actually put tools into the hands of doctors to continue the relationship beyond the four walls of the office or the hospital. And I think in that sense, it has a very, very bright future.
And in the few minutes we have remaining, I'm wondering if you can also give us your thoughts on what it means to you as a serial entrepreneur, as an investor in this space. What does it mean to you to be in the Hudson Valley, to be in Westchester County? Are there particular attributes about the region that have been helpful to you in the growth of your ventures?
Well, there's a couple of things in particular. Some are very specific. One is that when I look out of the windows in the backside of this office, there's the Rockefeller Park, and I'm a runner, and there's some of the best trail running in North America right in our backyard. There are, Regeneron and a host of other companies are here, so there's plenty of talent. We have several employees that drive from New Jersey, from Poughkeepsie, from New York City. None of them have traffic problems. They all can get here. I have traffic problems. I actually live in Westport, Connecticut. And if I don't leave at the right time, it can go from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And ironically, all that traffic is in Connecticut. So the area is great. Recruiting is not difficult. It has not been a barrier to get young people who want to be in New York City. This is a very easy commute. And there's a really good foundation of people here and companies, and it's growing. And we are, my venture firm, which is less active right now as it's still active, but less active as I build out Leviant, and the other people at Claripath. And we are all part of what I would say is a very rapidly growing community of companies that have a lot of know-how and a lot of engineering talent. And we will all provide the talent for and or spawn the next companies. So it's fun. And it's a much better lifestyle than New York City, where I lived for many, many years.
Well, David Eigen, thank you for spending some time with us. This has been a terrific conversation. I love to imagine that I can let you go and take a great run through the trails when we get off of here. But whether you can or you can't, I appreciate you spending some time with us. For folks who are interested in connecting with David or learning more about Leviant, you can find information at their website, which is leviant.com. That's spelled Leviant. Again, David Eigen, co-founder, CEO of Leviant. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me.